Um, September 2nd is Bride of the Water God, Volume 4, again in manhwa. We're always very careful to distinguish our manhwa and our manga here at Dark Horse. You'll see the nice South Korean flag, stamped there. Well, there are some companies who try to lump everything together, and I said you wouldn't come up to a Korean and a Japanese and say, "I can't tell the difference between you two. You're all alike to me." Why would you do that for manhwa and manga? I mean, they don't even read the same way. So, obviously, manhwa, many manhwa are strongly influenced by Japanese artists. That doesn't mean that Korean creators are not bringing their own stuff to it. The great thing about our manhwa is they're actually translated by a Korean mother and son team. So mother usually gets all the educated cultural stuff, whereas the son gets all the contemporary slang. So together. September 2nd will be Volume 2 of Neon Genesis Evangelion. And by then we may be having, some of you may get your fan art in there by then. And Volume 4 of a series that I'm very glad to see people like, which is Gunsmith Cats Burst. I don't know why I should be surprised that people like Gunsmith Cats. The only reason I am is that I would have thought it'd be too 80s for some people.
The 80s are coming back.
They are. It's kind of a 20-year cycle. So we don't have much time. I mean, pretty soon they're going to revive grunge. So I know it's a recession and everything, but like my suggestion to you if you want to make some money is like go to Goodwill now and like buy all the ripped jeans and flannel you get your hands on. You'll be able to sell that for like 5 times as much in a few years.
When have Pretty Girls with Guns gone out?
Well, Canada got Exaction. September 23rd is Berserk Volume 31 and Gantz Volume 7. October 14th, approaching Halloween, is Volume 13 of Vampire Hunter D, Twin Shadow Night, Parts 1 and 2. And I believe that concludes my initial yammering phase. There's actually something that I wanted to show at the editing manga panel, but I didn't have time to bring. I discussed the aspect of the idea of how we have to work carefully with paper stocks. This is actually the blank of Clover. This is what Clover looks like before you put anything on it. So one of the stages we do before we consider publishing any manga book is we actually get a blank from the publisher, in this case from China. So you can't really make it out here, but it begins with slick pages and then goes into regular pages we use for black and white. We want to be able to completely envision what kind of paper any book is going to be on. Because after all, these manga don't float in midair, they have to land on paper. And Dark Horse uses an extraordinary variety of paper stocks, 30 or 40 different for our books. We have a standardized manga format, which nowadays is about 5x7, but we're always ready to work with new formats as well. So that's something we go into a great deal of detail of. And as you might imagine, Clover was rather difficult to lay out because its original format consisted of 4 separate 128-page volumes. But to put them all together, we had to make sure that everything was going to line up properly. And there's another issue called signatures, in which books are printed on what are called signatures. For example, signatures of 8, signatures of 16. What these mean is that the pages are not printed in the printing press one at a time. They're printed like 8 at a time or 16 at a time. And then say if you have that, let's say a signature of 8, that means it's a big double-sided sheet of paper with 4 manga pages. Then you fold it twice, and then that goes into the book, if that makes sense. So, so if you're going to have colored pages, often you have to do it at the beginning or end of the signature. It's rather complicated. So there's a lot of planning that goes into a book beforehand. Where are we now? We're about halfway through. Maybe there's some things that you're interested in.